Hello, I'm Angela Murphy and you're watching Global Pulse here on Asia One. This week, Pakistan's leaders join millions of mourners to farewell Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. India's floods expose deep frustration over government planning and whether authorities did enough to protect vulnerable communities. Kyiv families face the human cost of another Russian strike. And the Dalai Lama looks ahead at 90 with a surprising prediction about his own future. So let's begin this week in the Middle East. For more than 3 decades, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei shaped Iran's politics, foreign policy and place in the region. His death marks a major turning point for the Islamic Republic. As millions gathered for funeral ceremonies, the country faces questions over what comes next.
From rooftops and balconies to the broad avenues of Tehran, a sea of mourners gathered to say goodbye. Many had traveled for hours, some for days, to witness the final journey of the man who led the Islamic Republic for more than 35 years. Authorities estimated the crowds numbered in the millions, making it one of the largest public gatherings in Iran since the funeral of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini in 1989.
I came with honor and pride to show all the people of the world how much we loved him.
For many supporters, the funeral was deeply personal. Parents brought children, elderly veterans stood alongside university students. Entire families lined the streets hoping for one final glimpse of the procession as prayers echoed across the capital.
The people are feeling like it's our bane, so everyone is sad and mourning our father.
Khamenei became Iran's supreme leader in 1989 following the death of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. During nearly 4 decades in power, he oversaw profound political, religious and military change, shaping Iran's place in the region. To supporters, he embodied resistance and continuity. To critics, his rule was marked by political repression and restrictions on civil liberties. His legacy, like the nation he leaves behind, remains deeply contested.
The funeral ceremonies of our beloved Imam had the same passion and fervor as this one. We are standing firm for this revolution.
Among the most poignant images were those of Khamenei's sons standing quietly beside their father's coffin as thousands filed past to pay their respects. For many in attendance, the ceremonies were about more than politics. They were a farewell to the only supreme leader generations of Iranians had ever known.
People were deeply distressed. They could not imagine what would happen.
As the funeral procession wound its way through Tehran, it marked the close of one of the defining chapters in modern Iranian history. What comes next will shape the country's future. But for those gathered in the streets this week, the focus was on remembrance, sharing grief, honoring tradition, and saying a final farewell to a leader whose influence will be debated for generations to come.
Across Gaza, the search for missing relatives has become one of the most painful consequences of the war. A widely circulated image, whose authenticity remains disputed, has renewed fears among families who say they're still waiting for answers about loved ones detained during the conflict.
In Gaza, families searching for missing detainees say a controversial image allegedly showing a Palestinian man in Israeli custody has deepened fears over the fate of their relatives. The image has spread widely among Palestinian families during the war, becoming a focal point for those still searching for relatives detained in Israeli custody. A mother say the moment they saw the photograph, they believed they had identified their son.
2 days ago at 10:30, I opened my mobile and I saw the picture. From the first moment I saw it, I knew it was him. I told Mohammed, wake up, this is a picture of Osama. I zoomed in and I knew it's him. I told his father and Mohammed said it was him.
Families say specific physical details in the image have strengthened their belief that the detainee could be their missing relatives. The mother says visible injuries match what she remembers from her son before his arrest.
I know the details of his body. He has swelling in his foot and scars on his leg, the same swelling on his left leg. I saw in the picture.
The family says the man was detained in March in Gaza, while Israeli authorities say the incident is under review and have not confirmed his identity or location. The mother insists her son was unarmed at the time of arrest and questions the circumstances surrounding it.
He didn't do anything. He was arrested with his son. They searched him. He wasn't carrying a weapon or a stick. He was unarmed. He wasn't feeling well. He has psychological issues. A normal person wouldn't take his son to that area.
As the investigation continues, Palestinian prisoner groups say they are trying to verify identities and secure access to detainees, while families in Gaza continue searching for answers amid growing uncertainty.
Turning our attention to what's been happening this week in Asia. India's monsoon rains are predictable, but the damage they leave behind is raising uncomfortable questions. From overwhelmed drainage systems to flood-prone neighbourhoods, critics say years of planning failures by the Modi government have left communities paying the price when the waters rise.
Monsoon rains have intensified across western and central India, bringing widespread disruption to daily life. Persistent rainfall has led to flooding in low-lying areas, water entering residential neighborhoods, and rising river levels in several states. Authorities say the situation remains dynamic as more rainfall is forecast. In Gujarat's Valsad town, residents describe severe flooding after hours of heavy rainfall, with water entering homes and residential societies. In Guwahati, residents say stagnant floodwater has created difficult living conditions and raised health concerns. Authorities say continuous rainfall has led to rising river levels and precautionary measures in affected areas. Officials say monsoon conditions are likely to persist, with further rainfall expected to worsen flooding risks, disrupt transport, and increase concerns over sanitation and public health in affected regions.
For decades, he's been one of the world's most recognizable voices for peace and compassion. As the Dalai Lama marks his 91st birthday, attention is not only on his remarkable life, but also on the future of a spiritual legacy that has shaped generations.
At 91, the Dalai Lama still has a sense of humor. Celebrating his birthday in the Himalayan city of Leh, the exiled Tibetan spiritual leader reflected on a lifetime devoted to compassion before surprising the crowd with an optimistic forecast for the future.
Judging by my dreams, there's indication that I may live to be 130, around 130 years of age.
It's a milestone that few people reach and one celebrated far beyond the ceremony itself. Across the Himalayas, Tibetan Buddhist communities gathered in monasteries and temples to honor the Nobel Peace Prize laureate. In Kathmandu, monks chanted prayers, families lit butter lamps, children performed traditional dances, and there was no shortage of birthday cake. More celebrations unfolded in MacLeod Ganj in northern India, home to the Tibetan government in exile and the Dalai Lama's residence for more than 6 decades.
To help people around the world to live a positive life, a good life. So this is my prayer for everyone.
While the celebrations were joyful, the Dalai Lama's message remained focused on others. He also offered a birthday prayer.
We are also proudly celebrating 91st birthday of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. In doing so, we carry forward his final action and remaining united in resistance and honoring His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama.
For many Tibetans, his birthday is about more than marking another year. It's a chance to celebrate a leader whose teachings have inspired generations. 91 years on, and if the Dalai Lama's dreams are right, he may only just be getting started.
Moving on to Europe now. Another deadly strike on Kyiv has left families searching through the ruins of homes and confronting a reality that has become familiar across Ukraine. as Russia's air campaign intensifies once again. Residents of the capital say there's no such thing as a safe night anymore.
Emergency workers spent the day digging through mountains of concrete after a Russian missile strike devastated a residential neighborhood in Kyiv. Burnt-out cars littered the street as rescue teams searched for survivors and recovered victims from beneath the collapsed building. Oleksandr Kolomiets says this isn't the first time his neighborhood has come under attack.
We are proudly celebrating the 91st birthday of His Holiness, remaining united and honoring him.
For Anna Misko, who recently returned to Ukraine, the attack has reinforced a grim reality.
There's no safe place. You never know where something might strike. In the end, all of Ukraine is an unsafe place.
She says, despite closely following air raid warnings, this attack still came as a shock.
We weren't expecting it. We survived by sheer miracle because we went into the concierge's room.
Another resident, Alexander Baklukov, says the first explosion shattered every window in his apartment before more strikes followed.
The blast wave, all the windows blew out, then it hit 3 more times.
The latest strike came just days after another deadly attack on the Ukrainian capital and adds to growing concern over Russia's increasing use of ballistic missiles, which are harder for Ukraine's air defenses to intercept. Ukraine is again urging its allies to strengthen its air defense capability. For those living in Kyiv, though, the immediate concern is far simpler.
We can see that this war is entering a new phase. It's difficult to predict what comes next.
In a city that has endured repeated attacks, residents say the uncertainty has become almost as frightening as the strikes themselves.
The streets of Brussels have travelled back in time more than 450 years, with knights, horses and historic costumes taking over the city centre. The Ommegang Festival brings Belgium's medieval past to life, recreating one of the country's most famous traditions.
Armoured horsemen staged traditional jousting demonstrations at Brussels' historic Sablon Square, recreating 16th century tournaments as part of the 4-day festival. The event features authentic costumes, horsemanship, and historical performances celebrating Belgium's medieval past. Me, I love hitting people, safely and with proper protection, of course wearing armor. As I was saying, I used to do foot combat, but now I do it on horseback. The moment when we lower our lances and set off in sync and then see our lance shatter against our opponent's shield, that's a moment full of adrenaline. We're completely in sync and it's a real pleasure. It's fantastic.
C'est un vrai plaisir, c'est génial.
The Ommegang Festival stretches from the Sablon district to Brussels Grand Place, with participants of all ages taking part in the historic procession. Recognized by UNESCO in 2019, the festival continues to preserve centuries-old traditions while attracting visitors from around the world.
I've been doing it for about 5 or 6 years now. It's all for the enjoyment of it and for the horse's enjoyment as well. I've been very lucky that he's become just as enthusiastic about the medieval world as I have.
Organizers say the Ommegang Festival remains one of Belgium's most prominent cultural events, blending history, tradition, and community participation while preserving a centuries-old legacy for future generations.
It's on Global Pulse, the race against time in Venezuela as families search for loved ones, a fortnight on from 2 devastating earthquakes. And Nairobi's most unlikely internet star, rescuing birds 1 injured wing at a time.